All right, this is Jason Sohail with Moon and Lackbush, and I got special guest
Me!
Stone. That is such a pleasure to be here with you right now.
Hey!
I know this is your first time at MomoCon, but is this actually your first time at Atlanta?
The last time I was at Atlanta, I was actually pitching two things. I was pitching to Cartoon Network a robot show designed by Stan Winston, famous effects artist, and Hellboy Animated.
Oh wow!
Which they were very excited about. At least the executives we were talking for were really pumped for us. Ultimately didn't go, and it turned into two DVDs that we produced. Right. But that was that's the last time I was here.
So, I gotta ask about that. When you pitched that to Cartoon Network, how were they about the name? Especially as a kids network.
Well, you know what? It's one of those things where we just pitched it as is.
Yeah.
You know, and the executive knew the comic, and not just like, oh, I've heard about that comic. Yeah. She said, oh yeah, like the story where. Yeah. So she was all for it. She knew what she was getting into, and didn't think it would be a problem. I mean, ultimately, when they did the movie, it's not like they changed the name for that either. Right. So you just really have to stay true to the material, pitch it, and then if they say, we love this show, we want to do it, want to do 65 episodes, but you have to change it to Heck Boy, you go back and you have a conversation. Hey, can we change it to Heck Boy? And then it's like, well, can we turn him green and make him short and something like that? Yeah. So it doesn't get in the way of Hellboy? You know, it's that kind of conversation. But generally, when you do an animated show, the studio and the network, in a cliche way, are always called your adversaries, but really they're your partners, that they have an agenda that they're hoping your show fills, and so you got to work with them. I don't know that we would have settled for a Heck Boy, but it was just so great to see people who are so excited about the project.
Right, exactly. This year's the 25th anniversary of Darkwing Duck. I grew up loving this show. How was it seeing the fans and did you think after 25 years people would still be this excited for?
Well, you know, when you're doing a show, you worry about the show you're doing that's in front of you. You don't think about imposterity kind of thing. So I never looked ahead, but it's just fantastic, especially here in Atlanta. There's so much I've heard more, and I've been at conventions where I've sat in with Amy Memberson of the Disney Princesses. I'll sit with her and maybe do some sketches, and people say, "Oh, I love this show. I grew up with it." But here, over and over, people say, "This is my childhood. This is my childhood," like the exact same phrase. So it's just cool. You see the enthusiasm that's still there, and just found somebody who's saying like, I bought all the DVDs. I'm passing it on to the next generation.
Oh, that is awesome. So, how did the creation of this character come about? How did he become this satire of a superhero?
He started as satire, frankly, of a secret agent. We had done an episode of DuckTales called Double O Duck that was Launchpad, and Jeffrey Katzenberg told me he thought the name was marketable, that would cut through the clutter of a million animated shows in syndication. He said, develop a show for that. And I looked at it and felt like, it doesn't feel Disney because there's no heart to it. It's just going to be a parody. So, I did a presentation. He looked at it and he says, this doesn't feel Disney. There's no heart to it. The difference is, he said, do it over. And then I went into, what if he's a special agent more like Doc Savage, which grew into The Shadow and the Green Hornet. For a while, he had a group of individuals, a team, and in fact, his sidekick was a little guy with a derby hat, and he had some other characters. We went back and forth, it mutated. Launchpad, probably because he was in at the beginning, it was like, hey, we need a pilot. Hey, what about Launchpad? And we actually changed him a lot for the series, in that Launchpad used to be a terrible, he would crash all the time. In our series, it was actually pretty good. But what sold the show, what made it, was the question, what if Batman had a little girl who refused to stay at home? And that was the heart. That was now we get it. And she's actually my favorite character.
I love Gosalyn.
Yeah.
I love Gosalyn. So, when this show was on the air, it was on syndication and it was on ABC. How was doing the episodes for syndication different from doing the ones that was on the network?
Well, at first they weren't different at all because it was real sweet from my point of view. Generally we'd do a package of 65 episodes, that's it. So people say, well, why was that canceled? Well, it wasn't canceled.
Right.
The business model was to do 65 and then repeat it forever. ABC got interested in the show, and they said, we want the show. So we said, okay, we showed them some of the episodes. We weren't going to show them everything because we didn't want them to cherry pick the best. From their point of view, it was great because they got to see, in some cases, finished shows to choose from. From our point of view, it was great because they tried to give us notes, and we said, we're not taking any notes. This is it. You want it or not? So it had one season ABC, and then to fill up the 65, we got to do 13 more. Then ABC wanted a second season. That's the one where I had to take notes and all of that. And we did find stories. It wasn't like, oh, those episodes. You know, they blend right in. And in fact, one of them was so adventurous. One of them was so adventurous, it was, now I'm blanking on it. It's the one where Gosling made a deal with the devil.
Oh, yes. I remember that. Hot Spells.
Hot Spells, yes.
There you go.
And it was real tame, but I guess they got a couple of letters, so they didn't. They didn't rerun it, and but I always say that one went through standards and practices, and it was so safe. And because of a few letters, they didn't put it in. And it's on YouTube. You can find it. But it was just fun. So it wasn't like those episodes were toned down, you know, especially since one's evidently censored.
Right. So I own all the DVDs, and unfortunately, you know, not all the 65 episodes got produced and anything. What, as a fan, can I do to let Disney know that I want the rest of Darkwing Duck on DVD?
I mean, the hard thing with Darkwing, I believe, there's not the same number left to fill up a 2-disc set, so that would be odd anyway. But basically, Disney is not adverse to making money, so they really look at the sales of the original DVDs. You know, it's like give them for gifts if you can find them, and give them to friends and you know, the next generation or whatever. Right now, they're rebooting DuckTales. If that does well, and I don't. You know, knowing the creative people involved, I don't think there's any reason why it wouldn't do well. That may open the door to looking at some of the old properties and kind of reinventing them or something like that. I rather Darkwing not have like a cameo in DuckTales. I rather have a new creative team who's just as excited saying, oh, what can we do with him? Because to me now, you've got all the Marvel and, you know, movies to pull from the DC movies, the DC TV universe. People are so far ahead of you now. I was doing stories based on the Silver Age. No kid knew who Jimmy Olsen was, let alone that he turned into a giant turtle, or Lois Lane's head grew to 8 times the size as she evolved. But now they're with you, so you could say, like Scott Snyder and Batman did a great run where he created the Court of Owls, the secret society. It's like, okay, I was just telling Aaron Sparrows doing the Darkwing Duck comic book, I said, you guys could do the Flock of Pigeons, or something like that, where they all hang out on the telephone wire, or a giant statue, or something like that. But it's like, now you have new things to parody and make fun with, but always go back to the heart. Always make sure, you know, you've got that, you know, little bit of soul in it.
Right. So one last final question. Back in 2009, you came back and did a story for the Darkwing Duck Annual. How was doing that story? How was it, like, just getting back?
It was fun because I love the comics medium, and in fact, what I'm doing now is taking some of my unsold series and seeing, like, I want to make this a comic in some way. So stay tuned. That one, the only thing was I love playing with the comics medium. So I wanted to do a time travel story, and my idea was, what if page 3 and I'm just making a page. Page 3 and page 7 were the exact same page, but like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, it means something entirely different each time. And the only thing about it was very ambitious for an 8-pager. So what got back to me was people were confused the first time and then loved it the second time they read it. So they go, oh, I get it now. But it was fun, you know, getting to that. And now that I've been doing all this original art from MomoCon, I've overcome my fear of ink and brushwork and all that. So I'm just dying to get into my own stuff. That's
awesome. So so fans want to reach you, what's the best place for them?
If you just Google my name, you're going to find me on Facebook, Instagram, you know, Twitter. You know, and I actually have a website. One is, and it's got a long ass name, so sorry. One's actually behind the scenes of the Hellboy movies. As we were making them, I was doing a blog. So if you want to trace, so you go back in the archives, you can trace how that was created. And then I've got a personal blog that I never update, so but you can find it.
Awesome.
So.
Thank you so much for your time. It's such a pleasure. It was such a pleasure to meet you.
No problem.
Enjoy the rest of your con, and I can't wait to see your 25th anniversary panel.
All right, be a good one.
See you guys. I cannot thank Tad Stones enough for the interview. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go ahead and click on this video right here to see our entire playlist of our adventures at MomoCon for 2016. And if you haven't seen, you can see my Darkwing Duck collection in this video right here. Thank you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed.